Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say one thing. Somebody needs to call 911 for Darby Allin. Um, Before I go into the show, Jon Moxley and Darby Allin, first off, I have to say kudos to both of these guys. Outstanding matchup for AEW Dynamite, November 20th, 2019 episode. Fantastic show. Very solid, good action, and a lot of fun to watch. Um, I'm a little bit behind on a lot of my reviews right now. For one, I have two events I got to review on Saturday and Sunday night. During my weekend, I got to also schedule, not schedule, but also take care of some of my things I got to do over the weekend for like doing my move out to Las Vegas. I'm relocating and so forth. So I'm going to be very tight on my schedule. So just right out of the gate, I'm doing the review for AEW tonight. I'm watching NXT tonight. For last night's episode, I was not able to watch anything last night. Something happened, family, life shit. And I just couldn't get around to it. So tonight I took the time to watch AEW Dynamite, and tonight I'm going to finish, I'm going to actually go ahead and watch the entire show of NXT from last night as well. This show, though, really, I don't know how NXT was, but this show is definitely good. A lot of fun to watch. Well worth going back to watch again if you wanted to watch it a second time. It had everything you're looking for. Good matches set up for next week's episode for the eve of Thanksgiving. So great action will be happening next week, especially an AEW World Title match between Chris Jericho and Scorpio Sky. So that should be very fun to watch. We also had, to kick off the show, just going straight into it, Nick Jackson and Phoenix. Wow, what a fucking opener. This was the best idea of all the matches they could have. This was actually a very good opener. This is the way to open up the show. Nick Jackson and Phoenix tore the house down with this fucking matchup, and their tag team competitors. Ray Phoenix has a little bit more experience in singles matches, but Nick Jackson's more of a tag team specialist. And the action was just unreal. Every spot they had was done to perfection and very enjoyable. I mean, these guys went all out with each other. They were stiff in the ring, and they gave everything they had for its audience there in Indianapolis. And I give them a lot of kudos. Great matchup. The match ended with a spinning muscle buster by Ray Phoenix, and the match ended. Nick Jackson then goes for a handshake, and Ray Phoenix refuses to shake his hand. He walks away. So I don't know what that means. I guess that's, just rivalry, disliking towards one another. But there's really not a whole lot of love to There's not a whole lot of love being shared between these two guys, especially as tag team competitors. That might have a reason why the handshake was denied by Ray Phoenix. The match itself, out of 5 stars, I'm giving that match a solid 4 stars. Great opener. Brett Baker and Hikaru Shida. So the next match after that, immediately one match after another. There was not a whole lot of promo work done, which I appreciate. I want to see wrestling. You can give me all the promos you want, but let the matches carry the show. Not fucking 10-minute promos that don't do diggly shit outside of bore most people. People don't want to hear people talk so much. They want to see people wrestle. And that's what I appreciate about AEW. They provide wrestling, not talking. But Brett Baker and Hikaru Shida, probably the best match I've seen from the women's division so far. And solid match. Shida actually gets the victory here and wins. And the matchup, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Probably the best match the women's division has had in AEW so far. So, we go from that to a fantastic video promo of the Dark Order doing their own version of, like, Bray Wyatt. Only they do it in an advertisement type of way. What I love about it is that they show a guy who the actor is absolutely horrible. I will state that. That's the one downfall about this promo. But everything else about it was just fucking great. The guy is an overweight dude. He's in a subway. He gets his glasses knocked out of his hand, and then somebody steps on him, and that was that. And they kind of laugh at him like, haha, you're a fat schlub, idiot. And he's sitting there very depressed and felt like he was treated like shit. So he goes ahead, he sits down in the subtrain in the subway, and he's sitting there and he watches a video, and it reminds me of something like straight out of Total Recall. When Arnold Schwarzenegger's in this train, and he's watching this video in the screen on the train, and he's just watching it, and he starts getting an interest in doing Total Recall as a fantasy vacation to Mars. And this reminded me very much of that. And I thought it was kind of cool, and I think that's what they were trying to go with. Maybe they kind of took the idea from that movie and applied it to this type of segment. If that's what they were doing, I thought that was fucking awesome. The other thing is the narrator was unbelievable. He reminded me a lot like Bray Wyatt. The spokesman was great. I think he would be awesome to introduce with the Dark Order and have him be like their manager, per se. I think that would be fucking cool as shit. But whatever they were trying to go with here was fucking funny as hell. It was really neat. It was basically stating, hey, people that are down on the luck, don't feel like they're welcome, don't feel like they're actually accepted in a group. Do you want to feel part of something? Well, come join us. Come join the Dark Order. And that's what the whole gimmick was. It was about outcasts becoming something and being accepted. And that's what I enjoyed about this. But they made it in like a Bray Wyatt type of promo, but it was like an advertisement for like a vacation somewhere. And I thought that was fucking awesome. Very original, genuine, different, out of the box. I really liked it. It was very creative. And I give them a lot of props on that. So good promo there. From there we had the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, with the final 2 participants competing next week in a singles match. The winner gets a AEW Diamond Ring. Now, my major issue with this, I have no problem with the idea, especially what they went with at the end of the show, at the end of this matchup. I mean, I think what they went with here was a great idea. The 2 guys that were left standing at the end of all this nonsense, it was MJF and Hangman Page. Awesome decision. It was the only decision you could really go with. Nothing else here really stood out to me that would be worthy enough to actually have a match. Like I said before in previous videos for AEW, I have mentioned that MJF and Adam Page need to hook up again and compete and have a long drawn out rivalry for a couple of weeks, leading into some kind of pay-per-view type matchup. Whatever the case may be. But they need to go into this and give them some kind of legit rivalry matchup that is noteworthy to the audience so that they'll have something to remember forever for these 2 guys. I think these 2 guys can create history together. I think they are very good in-ring competitors. And MJF, he's the best. He is, when he says he's going to become the face of AEW actually saying he is the face of AEW, I believe him. The guy has it. He has what it is to be a wrestler. He has a good physique. His physique reminds me of Bobby Roode. He has an attitude that is like none other. He has the ability to talk like The Rock. Like, on a dime, he can figure out what to say and make it sound good. I mean, the guy is an outstanding heel. He makes you want to hate him. He's the best heel on the planet right now. I don't think there's anyone better than him unless Tommaso Ciampa was a heel again. He was great at what he was doing at the time last year when he was rivaling with Johnny Gargano. But Tommaso Ciampa is no longer a heel. He's the fan favorite, and there's no doubt about it, and there's no reason why he should be. He should be a fan favorite. He shouldn't be a heel. But MJF, I love him. I really do. I love his character. I love his gimmick. I love what he has to offer as a heel. He is a great heel. He is somebody you can love to hate. And he did an outstanding job here. He actually stood on the outside of the ring with the last few competitors left over. He kind of got thrown between the middle ropes. He went down to the bottom of the ring and he hit away. And Jungle Boy was the last person standing outside of Adam Page. And he just decided, what the hell? I see one guy standing on the outside of the ring. I'm going to grab him by his leg, yank him, and pull him off. And then get on the ring rope and say, hey, I'm here. And that's all he had to do. That was an opportunist type move. That was something Edge would do. I love what Edge used to do when he was a heel. He was a fucking prick that you loved to hate. You had a reason to despise his fucking ass. That is what MJF provides. He provides a reason to dislike his fucking guts. And he does it at a unbelievable. He's unbelievable at what he does. I give him a lot of credit. So this matchup is definitely going to be important. I hope that this match means something like a number one contendership for the World Heavyweight title. Something of that kind of nature. Because just winning a diamond ring, like as if this is the Battle of the Bowl, like the fucking WCW days where they end the match, end the entire tournament, and then all of a sudden you get a fucking diamond ring. That's stupid. That's like what WWE does now at the King of the Ring. Oh, you get a robe and a crown, and there you go. No title opportunity, no pushing your career, nothing. Just bullshit. You won a tournament, big fucking deal. Make the tournament mean something. You win the tournament, you get a title opportunity. Make it where you get crowned for a new championship you haven't introduced yet, that you're first debuting. I don't care, but bring something on the table for this diamond ring to mean something. Anything. That's all I have to say on that subject. So, next up, this matchup, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay for a Battle Royal, but I didn't really care for it. Next, we had the AEW World Champion, Le Champion. Basically, he goes on to say that he apologizes for what he did in last week for being pinned by Scorpio Sky and then destroying a bunch of stuff at ringside. Jericho tried to apologize for what he did, but has some trouble. So, he brings Hager in the mix. And holy shit, Jake Hager speaks! For the first time, he speaks! What does he say? The first words that he comes out of his mouth? He's sorry. He's sorry. Yep, he's sorry for Chris Jericho. And he continues to say he's sorry every time he comes to the point where he has to say it in his sentences. And he says he's sorry that he announces that next week in Chicago, he will finally get the thank you he deserves from everyone, including the higher-ups in TNT and AEW. At that point, he kind of took shots at the fans in Indianapolis. Goes ahead and he says, it will be a Chris Jericho's Thanksgiving thank you celebration. Jericho says he's sorry with Jake Hager saying that, that his celebration won't be in front of the live crowd bumpkins. But they will see him looking good on TV next week. So pretty much he's taking shots at the crowd saying, hey, at least Chicago's got a hockey team, 2 baseball teams, and a football team, and they ain't got nothing else but a football team. And he doesn't even really list off what they have as sports teams. But then you go ahead and you have the camera pan to the crowd, and it's got a fan with a Chicago Bears jacket on, while he lives in I guess maybe he lives in Indianapolis, or he showed up from Chicago to go to this event for shits and giggles because he had the money to do it, or he lives in Indianapolis and he likes the Chicago Bears. Whatever the case may be, I thought that was very funny. They panned the camera on the fan that was wearing that shirt. By the way, speaking of panning the cameras in the audience, I also saw a sign by a fan written that says, "Suck it, Vince." I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Reminded me of the old days of the Monday Night Wars when you got to see signs from fans saying Vince McMahon fears WCW, or vice versa, Eric Bischoff fears WWF. I absolutely love that kind of shit. That was fucking awesome back in the day, and just to see it being, shown on TV with a fan holding a sign like that, I thought was absolutely great. That point, we had SCU's music hit, and out rolls the trio, and Sky says it takes a lot of Jericho to come out and apologize for what he did. Sky says Jericho forgot to mention why he threw that temper tantrum last week, and it was because he pinned Jericho and gave him his first AEW loss. Very important topic to throw out there because of the fact it ruined his undefeated streak. The crowd with a "You got pinned" chant roared out in the arena, and Sky says his phone blew up after he did that. Even his old crush Melina called him, and they're going out. I don't know who the fuck Melina is. I don't know if that's referring to the chick that was with John Morrison at the time when they were with MMM, with Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro, but whatever, I don't know, and I really don't care. Sky says he didn't mean to embarrass Jericho. Jericho says he wasn't embarrassed, and he's seen Melina. She's gained a lot of weight since high school, and Sky responds with, "I like big butts and I cannot lie." That was a great fucking... I really could tell that these two guys were having a lot of fun, too. They were having a lot of fun going back and forth at each other with shots of lines and comments and things of that sort. And I could tell they were both smiling on their faces at certain points when they laid on their comments to the other person. So I thought that was great. Where things got a little off with this promo is Jericho says he wants to have a match with Sky, and he feels that he's out of his league. So Jericho goes on to say, "I'm going to mop the floor with you and all around the arena, baby boy." And Daniel says they would have to have a month before the match like that. Now, I have a major issue with what they were doing, but I kind of figured in my mind what they were trying to go with. I guess it was just a way of playing Jericho into a trap by baiting him into the idea of putting his world championship on the line. Sky says no to the idea after Jericho's actually giving him a world title opportunity in normal circumstances under normal formula of a promo. Someone would go ahead and say, "You damn right I want a championship match. I'll take it." He actually says no. Jericho says, "Well, that's too bad. They got it." And Jericho shakes his hand and says it's official. From that point, Sky then yanks Jericho in close and says Jericho may not think he has a chance, but he's been waiting 15 years for this chance. Next week, I just may beat you for the title and make Le Champion into Le Bitch. I don't know if I like the word bitch being thrown around so much. It's really being used a lot lately. So I kind of think it's getting the word bitch is starting to make it seem a little bit weak with it being used so much. I think they need to cut down on it after a while because this is getting a little ridiculous and redundant. But I get what he was trying to say. So everyone starts brawling. Santana Ortiz and Sammy Guevara run out and beat up SCU with Jericho and Hager, and Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler try to come out and help, but get knocked out off the apron to the floor. Jericho ends up hitting Judas Effect on Sky, knocking him out as the rest of the group dispatches SCU. From the back comes Mark Stunt. Jericho immediately gets knocked to the mat. Jungle Boy follows and gets a shot, but is dropped too by Jericho. Luchasaurus comes out and gets in the ring and faces off with Jake Hager. The crowd starts going crazy for Luchasaurus, and just this stare down alone seemed more important than anything that Jake Hager has ever done in WWE. He seemed more important. He seemed like he was in a moment with Luchasaurus, even though it's not that big of a deal. Luchasaurus not being that big of a deal at all right now yet. He needs to be built up in this company, but he's got a good, strong following by the fans. So I got to give AEW a lot of credit for the moment they gave Hager in this situation. Thought it was pretty neat. Hager tosses his watch like he's ready to go, and then back away slowly and gets out of the ring, and that was pretty much that. Playing the heel move. Luchasaurus and Peter Avalon, I did not watch this match. I completely skipped it when I watched it on demand, so didn't really give a fuck about that match. Luchasaurus, of course, won that match by a roundhouse kick to the head and got the 1-2-3. Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz, Pride and Powerful. I will go on to say this. These are the two best tag teams right now in AEW outside of the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. These two guys can put on a fucking clinic. The matchup, though, turned into shit later on account of a referee mistake again. What the fuck is going on with the referees? They say that Ortiz was not the legal man, but yet then Ortiz goes for a pinfall after that, and the referee's counting for the pinfall on the other team. While Ortiz is not the legal man, that makes no fucking sense to me. I did not like that portion of the match. It's not the wrestler's fault, it was the referee's fault. They made a fucking mistake. The referee wasn't pulled for the count to be interrupted. I didn't like that portion of the match. It made the match suck at the end. The in-ring action, though, that these two teams provided were fantastic. 4 out of 5 stars. It would be a 4.5 out of 5. But because of the referee's mistake and issues that I noticed blatantly happening in this matchup, I did not like that portion of the match. I'm sorry. The match ends with the Private Party picking up the victory with a gin and juice, which is a hurricanrana followed by a cutter combo that was hit, and then they were covered for the 1-2-3. Santana was the person who ate that move. Post-match, Jackson and Dustin Rhodes with his hand in a cast, displaying and sticking with detail that what happened with him, he got an injury. His hand got broken, so they have him in a cast. Good job by AEW to follow up with that bit of detail that they did a couple of weeks or a month ago. They came out to help fight off Guevara and Santana and Ortiz. And that was pretty much that. We also get some announcements on the matches that were going to occur next week. Pac and Kenny Omega are going to compete for the second time in a row. This matchup really can, if it wasn't for the AEW World title match, this could be your main event. Really be honest with you. This match should be like this match should be placed at the 9 o'clock hour. So in the second hour, we should see this starting off the second hour. Pac and Kenny Omega. This is going to be a great match. Cody Rhodes' return was announced last night for next week's episode. Excuse me, I'm starting to get really tired of talking, so I apologize for me sounding so fucking ridiculous and getting tongue-tied. But Cody Rhodes, he is going to be returning. I think this is a great way to open up the show with a promo by Cody Rhodes, telling people how he's feeling, how he's recuperating, his update on his injuries, so on and so forth. Just letting us know when he's coming back and what his motive is when he comes back and is cleared to wrestle. I think that's the best thing for them to kick off the show with. And of course, the AEW World Championship match with Scorpio Sky facing Chris Jericho. We get a small promo from Kenny Omega working out. And then he talks to the camera after he puts the bench, the weights down. He says he's not a promo guy, nor a hardcore guy either, but he's been doing things that he hasn't done previously. Which is very true. Omega says people feel like he's lost his marbles. He feels like it came from losing to Pac. Which is true. If you go back to the history of his singles loss to Pac, he's kind of done some things that are not really what he normally does. Not his style. It's kind of went out of the realm and out of his box and element of what he normally does. Omega says he's getting a chance for revenge next week, and he goes back working out, and there's only like 5-10 pounds of weight on the bar, which was fucking retarded. I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know if that was meant to be a joke or whatever. I guess that was supposed to be funny. I'm just reading it and saying it out loud just sounds so fucking ridiculous that he's lifting up 5-10 pounds on each end of the bar. That's just fucking retarded. Anyway, we get to Jon Moxley, Darby Allin main event match. This match was fucking unreal. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I love the fact... I'll tell you one thing that was unique. Undertaker, eat your fucking heart out. Darby Allin did something that was fucking unbelievable. Darby Allin comes out in his entrance in a body bag. He's wrapped up in a fucking body bag. He rolls himself over, unzips the body bag, pops out like he's the fucking Undertaker, and goes ahead and scrolls down the ramp on a skateboard. I can't even fucking figure out what the fuck to say. Sorry. But he scrolls down the ramp on a fucking skateboard and gets into the ring and prepares for war with Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley response from the crowd was, holy shit. They went nuts for this dude. He hasn't gotten a pop like that in God knows how long. I don't think he's ever gotten a pop like that in fucking WWE. And he just went, the fucking crowd was nuts. They were all patting him on the back. He's walking through the crowd. He's acting all intense. He looked pissed. He looked like he was ready to go. And they had a match. It was a fucking match. It wasn't no hardcore match. You didn't see trash cans. You didn't see barbed wire. You didn't see bats. You didn't see chairs. You didn't see anything. You saw these two guys beating the shit out of each other in a match. And they did a great job closing this show out. This was fantastic. And the ending, oh my god. The ending was fucking sick. Darby Allin, I will give him credit. He's the craziest son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life. I think he makes Mick Foley look fucking pathetic. I don't think Mick Foley would do something like this, but he probably would. I may be underestimating Mick Foley in his prime. But Darby Allin at the end of this match took a fucking double arm DDT from the top rope into the mat, and he lands skull first onto the mat, and he's done. that was the end of the match. 1, 2, 3. Darby Allin loses to Jon Moxley. Throughout most of the match, he looked good, but he was getting his ass pummeled by Moxley. Moxley was destroying him from beginning to end. Some of the match, Darby Allin had an opportunity. He had his moments where he was on the offense. But majority of the match, Jon Moxley looked great. Darby Allin, he made him look good. I mean, these guys really did a good job with each other. They worked very well together. The only downside between these two is the weight. Darby Allin really couldn't do much physically to put Jon Moxley on the mat when it came to high-flying maneuvers. For example, Darby Allin went to the top rope to do a crossbody, and Jon Moxley didn't even sell it. He knocked him on his fucking ass. He lands right into his body, and he doesn't budge at all, and Darby Allin falls to the mat, and that's it. And he just pretty much, at that point, they continue on with the match, and everybody's just like, okay? We didn't expect that to happen. And that was pretty much all there was to it. Darby Allin did do something very intelligent, which the announcers touched on, which I appreciate as well. Paying very close attention to the action in the ring, the very small details. Small detail of which was Darby Allin used the corner turnbuckle, removed the padding off of it behind the little corner turnbuckle and the actual bar part. He stuck his finger through that and pulled upwards on one of his fingers. I don't know which one it was, or two different fingers at one time. But they mentioned that spot there that he worked on his fingers through the bars on the turnbuckle, they mentioned that would play some kind of effect in him doing that maneuver. Now, clearly, it didn't, because if it did, he wouldn't have been able to do the double arm DDT from the top rope and nail the finishing maneuver and get the 1, 2, 3. At the end of the day, this match was a great, solid way to close out the show. 4.5 out of 5 stars. I have no complaints on this matchup. It was fantastic. Very enjoyable. Jon Moxley looks like a fucking $1 million. And he's the guy that's got to take the title off of Jericho. He's the man. I really like Jon Moxley, but also Kenny Omega is another threat. Kenny Omega would be great to be the person to take the title off of Jericho. Where they can go with this, I don't know. Maybe they could do a triple threat match with Jericho, Moxley, and Kenny Omega down the line. But it's either going to be Kenny Omega or Jon Moxley competing for the AEW World Championship somewhere down the line. Personally, my thoughts on some other contenders for the AEW World title. Pac's another one. I don't know what they're going to do with him. He's being placed in a very bad situation where he's going to more than likely have to eat another loss. He's already eaten one loss by Adam Page, and now he's facing Kenny Omega, who's really wants some revenge on what happened to him at All Out, and on top of it, get his winning streak back on track. So this is definitely going to play out in a very serious manner. I don't know who's going to walk out with this victory, but I hate to say it, but I would go with Kenny Omega over Pac, simply because Kenny Omega needs the victory. Pac could use the victory too, but you got them facing each other, and it's a really good way of putting these two guys back together and bringing this match to free television on a Thanksgiving Eve. So that's just my opinions on that. Leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching. I bid you farewell, and I will see you again soon, wrestling fans. Thank you very much. Have a great night.